Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is your sustainability specialist. His name is Phil Grippy. Phil, welcome back to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm doing great. How are you?
I read your title this time, so there was no way to mess that up. No way, no making it up.
I was waiting for you to get
nothing.
the title right and my name wrong.
I could have.
One of these days.
Today was the day. Got it right. Maybe. Anyway, we're here. We're ready to go. You just blasted out another Green E-News blast. If you haven't checked that out, you need to check that out. But we'll take a couple of pieces from there. And the first one is renewables and energy efficiency post-IRA. And if you're wondering what IRA stands for, it'd be the Inflation Reduction Act. So let's talk about a few different areas that things are changing. Mm-hmm. We start with electric vehicles. That tax credit. There's a little bit of a change?
Yeah, so a number of changes. So the Inflation Reduction Act passed a couple years ago. It expanded or created a lot of credits and rebates for renewable energy projects and energy efficiency projects. Typically, a lot of these credits would need to be renewed every year or every couple years in federal budgets, and they have been. The IRA, one of the big things about it was that it expanded a lot of them and lengthened them. But the latest federal budget bill kind of cut all of them. The electric vehicles, the first one you mentioned. So those ones, electric vehicle rebates are still good, but the expiration date is now September 30th of this year. So you can still get that federal rebate for buying an EV. Certainly there are some restrictions in terms of where they're manufactured. So check that one out if you're looking. Talk to a dealer. But for new and used EV purchases, depending on the cost of the vehicle and your income level for used vehicles, you can still get that rebate until September 30th.
And then the home and business EV chargers, that also is changing.
Yes, yeah. So again, there are credits for installing EV chargers at your home or your workplace. Those ones that's a little bit longer, it's June 30th of next year of 2026. So again, can still certainly take advantage of those rebates, but there are a number of these things that you just want to, if you are able to, look at expediting those to take advantage of the credits.
Home solar projects as well. You can still save up to 30% off the cost of solar panel equipment installation, but that ends in December.
Yeah, ends the very end of the year, December 31st. I don't know that there's one of these things that I'm most bummed about. They're all kind of unfortunate. We've really been excited to push all of these rebates, but certainly I think that solar rooftops are still, for a number of people, maybe one of the less approachable ones, because there's so much. With vehicles, you're buying a new car, and every time you need to buy a new or used car, you might think, oh, should I get something that's more fuel efficient? You don't necessarily change your utility provider that often, and so solar maybe feels like a bigger lift. So having that 30% rebate on solar was such a big deal for kind of breaking one of those barriers to entry there. So really bummed to lose the solar rebates, but that 30% rebate is still there through the end of this year.
This one I'm particularly interested in is the home efficiency upgrades, and this is things in your home like water heaters and stuff. Getting that rebate back pretty crucial. Yeah,
it is, and again, they're still economically feasible. They're still logical. The big thing is that this takes the payback period, because you're generally saving energy on your bills when you get something like a heat pump water heater instead of a standard combustion water heater. But these rebates, and you can get up to $3,200 on a heat pump water heater. Those rebates might take your payback period, where the savings on your bills end up being greater than the extra costs to buy that equipment. The payback period might have been shrunk from 8 or 10 years down to 4 because of the rebate. So the payback period is still there. It still makes sense, but it might take a little bit longer for that break-even point. A number of those pieces of equipment, the federal rebates that were out there, again, have to be completed this calendar year. Now, for something like this especially, Wisconsin is very fortunate. We have the Focus on Energy program. The Focus on Energy program offers a lot of rebates and credits for renewable projects, but also a lot of energy efficiency upgrades, whether you're talking about things like air sealing and insulation. You can get energy savings kits directly from Focus on Energy. There are a number of free energy saving kits. You can get one per year for your address. And then also things like heat pumps, heat pump water heaters. If you want to replace your HVAC, if you're getting towards the end of life on your furnace and AC, and maybe you want to get an air source heat pump, or even something more ambitious, a ground source heat pump, Focus on Energy does still offer rebates there. We're just losing the federal credits.
All right. Well, like I said, I think it's good updates to know. And if you were planning on doing those or thinking about it, now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get it in while you can. Doesn't mean that things aren't going to come back in the future come back in a different way, but take advantage of what it is now. And, we'll see what happens in the future. And while we're talking about, sort of mention EVs, change course here just a little bit, but city EVs, Nick and I were out. Well, Nick's got to take full credit for this. He took the photos of the EVs.
Love those photos.
But the EVs, why are we going EVs in our fleet of vehicles here at City Hall?
Oh, so many different reasons. We'll go with a couple of the biggest ones. One is that EVs are cheaper to operate. The EV is a little bit more expensive up front right now, and a lot of that is just because the technology is a little bit newer. As EVs become more common and we get a greater volume of them being manufactured, the prices are already starting to come down and be relatively competitive. But then once you've got that vehicle in your inventory, the cost of fueling it up with electricity versus going to the pump and buying gas, it's pretty substantially different. A lot of EVs, especially the sedans, might get something like 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. And if you end up going and doing the math on what you're spending for electricity at your home versus at the pump, I did this when I was looking at buying a used car, and the break-even point for a full EV was something like $2 or $2.50.
Wow.
Once gas goes above that, it's now cheaper to charge my EV, cheaper on a per-mile basis. I ended up getting a plug-in hybrid, so it can be an EV for up to 30 miles. After that, it uses a gas tank. For that one, for me, the break-even point is right around $3. So right now, it costs me about the same. I think the gas station nearest to me is $2.95 today. It costs about the same to run the car as a gas car versus an electric. And as soon as it goes above $3, it's now cheaper to charge it at home. Now, EVs also, when you get rid of the combustion engine, you get rid of things like the oil and a lot of those mechanical pieces that are part of the engine. They're actually cheaper to maintain. You don't have all of the same things in terms of the timing belts and the pistons and the oil. A lot of the mechanical maintenance ends up being you have less frequent maintenance needed, and it's easier, it's cheaper. So EVs generally are considered to be cheaper to own and operate than fuel vehicles. One of the reasons it's really important for the city is those savings, that we want to be as economically responsible as possible. We wouldn't be buying EVs if it was costing twice as much as opposed to the other vehicles. That wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be a responsible use of our money. It also is great to set an example, and this is a really important thing for the city, is when we're talking about things like this, we can advocate, we can educate, we really want to avoid, with most of the things I work in, with sustainability things, we want to avoid anything that involves requiring or forcing, but we can set an example, and that's something that we're trying to do with these EVs, is we're purchasing them for the city's fleet, and then the more EVs you see out there, the more it kind of helps to create this sense that, oh, this is a common thing, this is maybe not so foreign or strange or scary to people who might be considering it but aren't sure that it's the next the appropriate step for them. I think just seeing more EVs out there kind of helps to create that general kind of cultural idea that this is equal to or better than the other cars that I was considering.
I think we know a lot of municipalities are going this route as it is. Is it still hard to find those vehicles? I thought that was also a problem too, is like the demand for it is pretty high as well. So trying to get your hands on certain vehicles and stuff.
Some of them,
so it was really hard. So. Yep. It's been an interesting go.
It kind of depends. There are definitely certain types of vehicles. A lot of our heavy-duty vehicles, there's not an EV replacement right now. And so if you're looking at heavy-duty things that are running on diesel, maybe you look at biodiesel instead, which has a lower overall life cycle emissions. Maybe you look at, you can convert to like liquid or compressed natural gas. So the Dane County landfill captures methane from basically methane that's seeping out from just the waste breaking down in the landfill. They sell that to several fuel stations around the area, and the whole Dane County heavy fleet, I believe, is running on that compressed natural gas, or renewable natural gas, another term they use for it. So some of those heavier duty vehicles, you just can't find the EV. Certainly there have been points right after the IRA passed and those EV credits came in, a lot of those manufacturers where it was made in the US and fit with the criteria for qualifying for the credit, there was a back order in a lot of EVs. When Ford first came out with their F-150 replacement, the Lightning, those were on back order for something like 12 months. I think some of that is relaxing. It's easier to get things when you want them. But certainly some of the vehicles do have high demand still, and you might be waiting a little bit.
Yeah, no, I said I think it's been an interesting go to see how it's kind of transitioned, but some pretty cool vehicles out there, and you'll see those rolling by you sometime soon.
Sometime soon.
And speaking of rolling, BCycle expansion, the final phase. You've got them all in.
Yeah, we've been working on this for a few years. It's been a lot of conversations and planning and trying to figure out what spots make the most sense for a BCycle station, and then working with property owners to figure out, are they interested, are they willing? We put in our last 4 stations this year, and this is all going back to a Transportation Alternatives Program grant we received from the Wisconsin DOT 3 years back in 2022. Since then, we had an initial 7 stations that we did put out in 22. But then that TAP grant funded this expansion, and we've placed another 15, I don't remember the exact number, but we've got over 20 of these stations now around Fitchburg, over 100 docks, that bike share option in Fitchburg, and to be completely finished with this grant-funded expansion and be able to just focus on education and advocacy. And we're through with the planning stages. I'm done building maps in software on my computer. I get to just go talk about it. That's exciting.
Well, I've seen a lot of people check them out here at City Hall, and granted, it's right here at the front entrance, so certainly you can check it out. But I think it's a cool program, and if you haven't checked it out yet, there's so many programs of biking stuff here in Fitchburg, as you know. So get on a bike, check it out, and
we got such a great network of bike trails and multi-use paths, and really being able to lower the barrier, because what the e-bike does is it allows you to go farther and faster with less effort. You can still get a workout on it if you want, but I've ridden an e-bike a couple times, and the way that it makes an uphill ride feel just like you're riding on flat ground is incredible. And so I think it makes for a much easier entry into biking around our paths if you're not familiar.
Yeah, no, I think they're pretty cool, and if you haven't checked it out yet, you need to do so. And 20 stations across Fitchburg here, so in and around. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah. All right, Phil, if people want to stay in touch with you or have any questions about any of the stuff we talked about today, how can they find you?
You can find information about all this stuff on the Green Fitchburg website. On Fitchburg's page, look for Green Fitchburg. I also, every couple months, put out a Green e-newsletter, as you mentioned at the top of this show. Go to Fitchburg's Notify Me site and click to be signed up for either emails or text alerts when I put out a new newsletter every couple months.
All right, sir. Always appreciate the conversation. We'll see you back here next month.
All right.